Also, the drone is ours. It's not the Tennessee 3 running it. They want to know what a crowd looked like, so we're going to send them pictures. Everybody wave to the drone up there so we can send it to the Tennessee 3. Because when they go somewhere, there's only 3 of them. There's no one else. But that's why they call themselves Tennessee 3. Look, it's wonderful to be here with you, as I said. And as we're preparing for this event, Lacey is right over there. I'm embarrassed to make her wave. And so she was out here working yesterday and today and last night and so forth to get all this together, along with my staff as well and everyone else. And so let's give them a round of applause for pulling this together. I can't take credit for any of this, nor will I ever take credit. There's a lot of people that make this happen. And so, but we are really thankful for your attendance today. Thank you all so much. The next person that's going to come up and speak, I said there's 2 speakers today who impacted my life in politics. This next individual, after I got done with another campaign, and after Randy McNally's, and we won by a landslide, I was doing another campaign that we did not win by a landslide. We got beat by a landslide. And I saw this individual, and they said, hey, why don't you come work for me? And so the story is that's how I got to Crossville, because this person was the current congressman in the 4th District back in the day. He moved me to Crossville. I was in his office here, had a great relationship with him, been friends with him ever since. He's been in the military. I knew him when he got married. I've seen him family grow. I knew his parents. He's a wonderful individual who I respect so much. And he's running to replace John Rose. It's my friend and mentor and one of my political hires that got me into politics, our candidate, Van Hilleary.
Well, I just need to sit down and say what he said. Thank you very much. But I feel like I've come home here today. I saw so many folks who said, oh, gosh, I know you, or I voted for you back in the day, or whatever. I've had a lot of children of people who voted for me back in the day come up and say, I think I know you, or my dad or mom does. Anyway, my name's Van Hilleary, and I was the U.S. Congressman here in Cumberland County, in Fentress County, White County, a lot of these counties around here, a number of years ago, served 8 years. But before that, I grew up in Spring City, Tennessee, just about 20 miles from here. Went to the University of Tennessee. I didn't know what else to do. My dad never said, son, someday when you go to college. It was always, son, someday when you go to UT. So I didn't know what else to do. And I went there on the Air Force ROTC scholarship. And so I went in the Air Force afterwards and then came out and went to law school. And the day after I graduated from law school, I boarded a plane for the Persian Gulf. Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And very proud to be a veteran. But I flew C-130s as a navigator. Now, I don't know how many of y'all were in the military and how many of you ever flown on a C-130 or know about it, but okay, some do. There you go. I knew I'd have some. But, a 130 is not the most dangerous mission the military ever came up with. When you get in trouble is when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that happened on occasion, but I'll tell you, most of our missions were just hauling stuff from one place to the other or dropping men out the back at altitude in parachutes. But on occasion, we'd also be tasked to pick up wounded soldiers and Marines. And I'll just tell you, out in the middle of nowhere where we could actually land on a dirt strip and try to get them to a hospital in time. And I'll just tell you, it made a difference in my life. Because I remember thinking I was doing my part up there in the cockpit, but back in the back, those boys were really giving at the office. And I remember thinking, hey, maybe I need to go back and try to do something to make a difference, because they certainly did. And I didn't know that was going to be politics. There's lots of ways to make a difference. Go back and be a teacher. Go back and start a business. Become president of Rotary, whatever. But about that time was one of the iterations we had of people trying to put in the state income tax, and I decided I was going to run for state senate because I was dead set against it. And I was literally nobody from nowhere, didn't know what I was doing, but worked real hard. On election night, it was announced that I had won. On the next morning, they found some votes and I'd lost. Okay, whatever. So then I said, okay, this is not going to be what I do to make the difference. And then Bill Clinton had been elected that election, ran on a middle-class tax cut, and the first thing he did is he put in the biggest tax increase as the country had ever seen. And that night, I decided I was running for Congress. And so I ran and I won. It was big wave, Newt Gingrich contract with America. We actually did some good things back then. We balanced 4 budgets. The only 4 budgets have been balanced in 55 years. And when we did that, the debt was only about $5 or $6 trillion. Now it's $37 trillion. Look, it's not my show, and I'm not going to have much of a speech here, but let me just tell you this. I think our country's been in decline for a long time. And I think Donald Trump is the first guy I've seen in a long time that's not just willing to. I've seen some Republican presidents and some Republican Congresses that said it's good enough just to slow the decline and manage the decline better. No, it's not good enough. Donald Trump is hitting that stone head on and trying to push it back up the hill, and I want to help him. Let me just end by saying this, because I'm getting fired up, and I better stop before I get too fired up. But I'm going to push really hard for a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. I don't think Congress, as it's currently constructed, is ever going to do it that year in and year out. And with $37 trillion, it is an outrageous and dangerous amount of money that we're playing with, and no one seems to be taking it seriously. I will take it seriously. I want term limits for members of Congress. I see no one that needs to be there forever. And it's going to take a movement outside the Beltway, because they're never going to do it to themselves. We're going to have to create a fire outside the Beltway to put pressure on them and get them to do it. Lots of other issues. Of course, I'm a conservative Republican, 100% pro-life, 100% pro-Second Amendment. And across the board, I'm conservative. I was the guy that voted the most against Bill Clinton's position than anybody in the Congress or the House or the Senate in one of the years I was there, and was pretty close to other years. That's me, Van Hilleary, conservative Republican. I appreciate your vote, your word of mouth support, and your prayers. Thank you so much.